The narrative opens by introducing the male protagonist, Jang, an individual whose exceptional culinary skills are matched only by his striking appearance. He has earned a renowned reputation as a 4-star chef, a title he has fiercely defended by remaining undefeated in every cooking competition he has ever entered. The story immediately thrusts us into the high-stakes world of professional cooking, where Jang is poised for a showdown with another esteemed chef. The terms of their contest are severe and deeply symbolic. The victor will claim the loser's personal chef's knife, an act that signifies the utter defeat and the permanent closure of the loser's restaurant. The competition commences with intense focus from both sides, but Jang's prowess proves superior and he emerges triumphant. This significant victory serves as the catalyst for his promotion to the coveted rank of a 5-star chef, solidifying his status as one of the elite in the culinary world. Meanwhile, the focus shifts to the female lead, Lee Nai, a dedicated and hardworking employee at a prestigious 5-star hotel. She is shown diligently carrying out her duties, transporting fish when she is approached by her friend, Kay. Their brief interaction is interrupted by the arrival of the head chef, the formidable Master Kong, who instructs Lee Nai to take the fish inside. In a subsequent scene, Jang is depicted in his car, already strategizing his next culinary battle. His assistant, somewhat perplexed, questions why a chef of his caliber continues to engage in these high-pressure contests. Jang's response is revealing and steeped in personal history. He confesses that his ultimate goal is to defeat one specific individual, Master Kong. A poignant flashback illuminates the source of this deep-seated drive. Young Jang is shown in a state of despair, tearfully begging Master Kong to take his sister under his wing and teach her to cook, as it was her greatest aspiration. Master Kong, however, coldly rejects the plea and walks away. Returning to the present, the memory visibly affects Jang, fueling his resolve. His motivation is not merely to win but to systematically dismantle Master Kong's pride, with forcing the closure of his restaurant being the chosen method. We are then given a glimpse into Lee Nai's life beyond the hotel. At night, she operates a small food stall. A concerned uncle who frequents the area questions why she bothers with the stall when she already holds a position in a 5-star establishment. Lee Nai explains that it is her personal training ground, a place to hone her skills and strive for perfection in her craft. As she quickly prepares an order for a customer, Jang unexpectedly appears and requests her signature fish noodles. Lee Nai initially refuses, claiming she has run out of fish. Undeterred, Jang insists that it is the only dish he desires. Resourcefully, Lee Nai procures fish from a neighboring stall and begins preparing the meal. As she starts to fillet the fish, Jang observes her technique with an intense, critical eye, making her feel increasingly self-conscious. She meticulously slices the fish into thin pieces, yet his gaze remains fixed on her. In an attempt to break the tension, she jests that he need not worry about her poisoning his food. Jang, however, retorts that he was merely critiquing her flawed technique, instructing her to tilt the fish and cut at a precise 50-degree angle. When Lee Nai follows his advice, the blade glides through the fish with remarkable ease. Impressed, she remarks that he seems to know a thing or two about cooking. Jang responds with a haughty look before taking a seat. The scene is suddenly disrupted by the arrival of a patrol van. Stalls in that location are illegal, prompting a frantic scramble as all the vendors, including Lee Nai, grab their belongings and flee. Jang, left behind, calls out about his unfinished noodles. Lee Nai shouts back a promise to make them for him another time as she makes her escape, inadvertently causing Jang to stumble in the process. Some time later, as Jang is finally leaving, Lee Nai reappears, surprised to find him still there. She offers again to prepare the fish noodles, but Jang ignores her. She profusely apologizes, explaining the necessity of fleeing from the authorities to preserve her ability to run the stall in the future. She pleads with him until he reluctantly agrees. As she prepares the dish, Jang resumes his close observation. Just as she completes the noodles and is about to hand them to him, the patrol van returns. Startled, Lee Nai drops the bowl and it shatters on the ground as she sprints away at full speed, leaving Jang to marvel at her swift disappearance. In a following sequence, Jang's luxurious car pulls up outside the 5-star hotel where Lee Nai works. She peers out from inside, curious about the occupant but unable to see who it is. Jang, from within the car, watches her inquisitive behavior with amusement, wondering why she's peering out if she cannot see anything. Master Kong arrives and ushers Lee Nai inside. Jang then enters the hotel himself, and Master Kong immediately recognizes him as the newly minted 5-star chef. He offers a formal welcome, but Jang cuts him off, declaring that he has not come to dine but to issue a direct challenge. Though taken aback, Master Kong accepts. The stage is set for a dramatic culinary duel. Lee Nai serves as Master Kong's assistant while Jang prefers to work alone. The chosen dish for the competition is fish noodles. Both chefs begin their preparations with intense concentration. At a critical juncture, Master Kong entrusts his prize knife to Lee Nai, tasking her with cutting the fish. She expresses self-doubt, but Master Kong solemnly informs her that if he loses, she will never have the opportunity to wield that knife again. Li Nai tries to bolster his confidence, asserting her belief in his victory, but he remains somber. With great trepidation, she takes the knife and begins cutting under his strict guidance, meticulously following his established techniques. Jang, for his part, works with focused precision on his own version of the dish. As they near the final step, Master Kong suddenly stops Li Nai. Confused, she points out that the dish is not yet finished. Master Kong reveals that he has a personal history with Jang and insists on completing this step himself. Li Nai respectfully steps back and sits with K. Finally, both dishes are presented to the judges. K and Li Nai watch nervously as the first vote is cast in Jang's favor, sparking their anger. The second vote goes to Master Kong, filling them with hope as they await the decisive third vote. To their devastation, the final vote also goes to Jang. A judge explains that while both dishes were exemplary, Master Kong's contained a subtle flaw in its flavor profile. It is then revealed that Master Kong suffers from a medical condition that has altered his sense of taste. Upon tasting Jang's dish, Master Kong is visibly shocked by its quality. Jang confronts him, asking if he is surprised by how far he has surpassed his former idol and if he remembers his past cruelty. Master Kong concedes defeat, acknowledging Jang's deserved victory, and with solemn respect, presents his knife to the winner, who accepts it with pride. As Jang exits, Li Nai confronts him. She accuses him of having prior knowledge of Master Kong's impaired taste, claiming that this was the only reason he challenged him. She declares him a loser, asserting that a healthy Master Kong would have easily defeated him. Jang dismissively replies that a win is a win, regardless of the circumstances, further inflaming Li Nai's anger. As she turns to leave, Master Kong calls out her name, Li Nai. The name strikes a chord with Jang, who is visibly stunned. He asks her if she is truly Lei, but she tersely tells him to mind his own business. After she departs, Jang receives a photograph on his phone. It is indeed a picture of Li Nai. A flashback reveals that Jang and Li Nai, who once went by the nickname Lei, were childhood friends. Driven by this discovery, Jang visits the orphanage where they grew up and inquires about her. He learns that she left after graduating, and they promise to send him a photo, which he now holds in his hands. Following the competition's outcome, Master Kong's restaurant is forced to close. Casting a pall of sadness over Li Nai, Master Kong and KK bids a sorrowful farewell, but Li Nai chooses to stay by Master Kong's side. As they walk together, they help a struggling stall owner, an act that triggers a memory for Li Nai of when Master Kong once helped her in a similar manner and encouraged her to pursue her career in the restaurant industry. She asks him about his history with Jang, but he evades the question, telling her to focus on her own future instead. Li Nai, seeing his profound sadness at the loss of his knife and his life's work, makes a solemn vow to him. "I promise you I will bring your knife back to you." Meanwhile, Jang is haunted by a childhood dream where he tried to appease a young Lei with candy, only for her to end their friendship because of his habit of bullying other children. He wakes up feeling sorrowful and goes to a curtain in his home, drawing it back to reveal a hidden collection of photographs of Li Nai. He takes one down and looks at it with deep affection. In a strategic move at his hotel, he instructs his assistant to post job openings for a new employee. Li Nai and Kay, undeterred by their setback, decide to open their own small restaurant. They work tirelessly and customers begin to trickle in. However, one evening, Li Nai is disheartened by the amount of leftover food, reflecting on waste. Her contemplation is shattered when Kay runs in with the news that inspectors have arrived. The inspectors declare that due to the restaurant's poor ratings, they are shutting it down permanently. Dejected, Li Nai is walking home when she trips and falls. In her frustration, she blames Jang for her streak of bad luck since he re-entered her life. Unbeknownst to her, Jang is standing right behind her and points out that she fell on her own accord. Startled, she demands to know why he is there and sarcastically asks if he has come to steal another knife. Jang explains that he has recently purchased an apartment and is moving in. When Li Nai asks for the building number, he says 30. She becomes furious, revealing that she lives in the same building and now they are neighbors, accusing him of being a curse. As she storms off, she nearly falls again, but Jang catches her. He calls her clumsy and walks away. Seeing the fish he is carrying, she assumes he is making fish noodles and has a change of heart. She approaches him, asking if she can see his apartment and casually mentioning her hunger, suggesting he cook for her. Jang reminds her that he is her bad luck, but she quickly backtracks, declaring her bad luck over. At his apartment, Jang begins cooking while Li Nai looks around. She notices a photograph but is distracted by his ringing phone. She tries to tell him, but he doesn't hear her, so she ventures into his room to find it. She heads towards a cabinet where, unbeknownst to her, Jang has stored her photo. He enters just in time and firmly asks her to leave the room. He then serves the food he has prepared. From the first bite, Li Nai is captivated by the noodles, eating with an enthusiasm that Jang observes quietly. When she finishes, he hands her a tissue, expecting praise. Instead, she bursts into tears, lamenting the closure of her restaurant and the negative public feedback. She confesses that she once thought herself a skilled chef, but tasting his noodles has made her realize her own shortcomings. Jang tells her not to compare herself to him, but she defiantly reiterates her vow to reclaim Master Kong's knife. Disappointed, Jang simply says, "I will wait." Lee Nai thanks him for the meal and leaves. Later, Jang is visited by a man named Young, who claims to be his elder brother. Young notices a glass with lipstick marks and comments that a girl must have visited before him. Jang, now also looking at the lipstick stain, picks up the glass thoughtfully. Elsewhere, Lee Nai sees a poster advertising a job opening at a 5-star hotel. She discusses it with Kay, who advises that getting a job in a top-tier restaurant is the best way to get close to Jang and ultimately recover Master Kong's knife. Motivated, Lee Nai goes for an interview at Jang's hotel. Jang watches the interview process via camera and is shocked to see Lee Nai. He asks his assistant which position she has applied for and learns she has applied for every role except that of a warehouse keeper. Lee Nai fails all the initial tests, leaving only the cooking assessment. There, she befriends a fellow applicant named Song and confidently tells him she is sure she will win this test. During the cooking test, Jang personally steps in to judge. Lee Nai presents a creative dish, a flower carved from a tomato. After tasting both dishes, Jang selects Song as the superior chef. Another 5-star chef, Jang, takes notice of Lee Nai. Having heard that Master Kong valued her, Jang believes there must be something special about the girl and considers recruiting her. Lee Nai later complains to Kay that Jang hired her, but as a warehouse keeper, a job she never applied for. She confronts Jang, who tells her to be grateful for the job she has been given. After some thought, she accepts. Song later teases her about her cooking business, and she laughs it off, clarifying it was just a street stall. Jang witnesses their easy camaraderie and feels a pang of jealousy. One day, while secretly watching the chefs cook, Lee Nai sees Jang ask for fish. She eagerly brings it to him and offers to cut it. Jang becomes angry, scolding his assistant for not informing her that warehouse staff are forbidden from entering the kitchen. Lee Nai is hurt and angered by the public reprimand. Later, during a staff meal, Song notices Lee Nai's absence and goes to look for her, but Jang stops him and goes himself. He finds her struggling with some heavy items and catches her as she is about to fall. She demands to know what he is doing there, and he explains that everyone is waiting for her for lunch. He then offers an apology and, as a gesture of goodwill, announces a new rule. She is now permitted to enter the kitchen to assist the chefs. Shocked, Lee Nai reacts by sputtering water everywhere. After Jang leaves, she erupts into a joyful dance, which Jang secretly watches with a smile, muttering to himself that she is truly crazy. As he walks away smiling, he is met by his brother Young, who informs him of an upcoming competition against Jang. Jang takes Lee Nai to Jang's expensive restaurant under the pretext of a meal, ordering the most costly items on the menu. Lee Nai, worried about the bill, asks if she can treat him next time instead. Jang agrees on the condition that she does not quit her job. She then questions why he hired her as a warehouse keeper. A flashback reveals that during the hearing process, Lee Nai demonstrated an extraordinary sense of smell by correctly identifying various spices blindfolded, a feat no other candidate could manage. Jang explains that it was this unique talent that earned her the position, as her sharp nose is a valuable asset. After the meal, as they are leaving, Jang notices something on Lee Nai's lip and almost wipes it away himself, but stops and tells her to do it. On their way home, they encounter Jang, who offers Lee Nai a job and tries to pry information about Jang from her, but Lee Nai refuses. Later, Lee Nai recalls Jang's predictions. He had told her to memorize the taste and smell of the dishes they had that day, and he had foreseen that Jang would approach her. He had instructed her to report back on their conversation. This reveals that Jang had anticipated Jang's moves all along. When Lee Nai returns to her apartment building, she finds Jang waiting for her with an umbrella in the rain. Touched, she asks if he was waiting for her, and he replies that he was concerned about the heavy rain. He then gives her warm soup to prevent her from catching a cold. Deeply moved by his care, Lee Nai tells him everything about her meeting with Jang, including the job offer and the attempt to recruit her as a spy. She proudly informs him that she refused because she does not believe in cheating. Her integrity brings a visible happiness to Jang. The next day, Lee Nai finds the restaurant closed for 3 days. As she is about to leave, she encounters a man named Phi who introduces himself as the senior chef. Jang's assistant arrives, stating he needs to deliver Jang's knife kit to his home for competition preparations. Lee Nai volunteers for the task, citing their neighborly proximity. She takes the kit to Jang's apartment but finds he is not home. She calls him and he gives her the password to enter. Remembering that his apartment contains revealing photos of his past, including of her, Jang rushes home. When he arrives, Lee Nai is waiting for him with a furious expression. He fears she has discovered his secret collection, but her anger is directed elsewhere. She has discovered that he was behind the negative reviews that led to her restaurant's closure. Jang admits it openly, explaining that he did not want her working for anyone else. Enraged, Lee Nai is about to leave when Jang makes her an offer. He reveals that Jang owns all the local seafood markets and has blocked his access to fresh ingredients. He tasks Li Nai with using her exceptional sense of smell to source the freshest seafood for him. In return, he will not only make her an official chef in his restaurant but also allow her to be his assistant in the upcoming competition. Li Nai agrees, on the condition that he fulfills both promises. Li Nai and Kay go to the market where she meticulously selects the freshest seafood by smell alone. The task takes a long time and a storm begins. Back at his apartment, Jang is cooking while listening to the news which warns of the deteriorating weather. Anxious, he cuts his hand, worried for her safety. Li Nai finally returns, drenched but successful, with a bounty of fresh ingredients. Jang is both shocked and impressed. She notices his cut and tenderly bandages it, a gesture that secretly delights him. They begin cooking together, with Li Nai smelling every ingredient to ensure peak freshness for their dish, which is intended to rival Jang's signature seafood plate. They practice the recipe repeatedly. After a long and exhausting day, Jang collapses from fatigue. A terrified Li Nai rushes to his side, fearing the worst, but finds he has only fainted. She stays by his side throughout the night. When Jang wakes up and sees her there, he is deeply touched that she cared for him. He thanks her sincerely and immediately returns to perfecting the dish, demonstrating the relentless dedication that Li Nai realizes is the foundation of his success. At the competition venue, Jang makes a final attempt to lure Li Nai to her side, but Jang intervenes, confidently stating that Li Nai is happy with him. The competition begins, and both chefs pour their skills into their creations. Jang utilizes Li Nai's unique talent, having her smell each component to ensure a perfectly balanced and unique flavor profile. The judges are highly impressed with Jang's dish, but they are equally captivated by Jang's creation, particularly a green sauce made from seagrass, an idea contributed by Li Nai. The voting is tense. One vote goes to Jang, one to Jang. The final vote is announced in Jang's favor, declaring him the winner. Overwhelmed with joy, Li Nai impulsively hugs him tightly, and for the first time, Jang returns a genuine, happy smile. As per the rules, Jang surrenders her knife to Jang. In a subsequent event, Jang's grandfather introduces a new chef to the family and publicly appoints his granddaughter, Susie, Jang's sister, as the head chef of his hotel. As Jang and Li Nai are leaving, Young informs them of Susie's return from abroad. Jang turns to see his sister, but before he can greet her, Li Nai receives a panic call that her father is missing. She immediately rushes off, and Jang, without a second thought, follows her, leaving a disappointed Susie behind. Young criticizes Jang for not staying to congratulate his sister, but his concern for Li Nai takes precedence. Jang helps Li Nai search for and eventually find her father. Later, Li Nai confides in Kay. Admitting that while she once found Jang rude, she now sees he is changing for the better. Kay gives her zoo tickets, suggesting she take her father and, as a thank you, invite Jang along. Li Nai goes to Jang's apartment where he has just finished showering. She offers to dry his hair and, while doing so, comments on how soft it is, playfully suggesting that people with soft hair have soft hearts. Jang dismisses this as nonsense. She then invites him to the zoo the next day and requests a day off. Jang deduces that her sudden niceness was merely a pretext for the invitation and initially refuses. As Li Nai dejectedly picks up the tickets to leave, he relents, granting her the day off and promising to try to join them. Thrilled, she departs. The following day, as Li Nai and her father are at the zoo, Jang unexpectedly appears and joins them. Li Nai is surprised, but her father greets Jang warmly, recognizing him and remarking on how much he has grown. Li Nai quickly interjects, clarifying to her father that Jang is her boss, not the childhood friend he remembers, attempting to downplay their complicated and deepening connection. The narrative continues to unfold, delving deeper into the evolving relationship between Jang and Li Nai, alongside the challenges they face in their professional and personal lives. Following the emotional revelations at the orphanage, the trio of Jang, Li Nai, and her father enjoy a delightful day at the zoo. The atmosphere is filled with joy and lightheartedness. Li Nai, captivated by the playful bubbles floating in the air, radiates happiness, prompting Jang to buy her a bunch of colorful balloons, a simple gesture that brings her immense delight. As they observe the graceful swans, Li Nai's father insists on feeding them bread. The bread, however, is in a bag that Jang is holding. As Li Nai reaches for it, she moves very close to him, an unconscious proximity that causes Jang's heartbeat to quicken noticeably. While she is engrossed in feeding the swans, her expression is one of pure, unadulterated joy. Captivated by the sight, Jang discreetly takes a photograph of her and smiles fondly at the image on his screen. This tender moment is interrupted when Li Nai's father notices the photo and demands to know by what right Jang is taking pictures of his daughter. Just as the situation becomes tense, Li Nai returns and Jang grows apprehensive. Fortunately, her father becomes distracted and the matter is dropped. Their friend Kay then arrives, and while Li Nai is pleased to see him, Jang's expression sours. The easy camaraderie between Li Nai and Kay stirs a distinct feeling of jealousy within him. Shortly thereafter, Jang falls ill with a fever. Even in his sickbed, he finds solace in looking at the photo he took of Lee Nai at the zoo. On his way to the hospital, he coincidentally meets Lee Nai and, feigning greater helplessness than he feels, persuades her to accompany him to assist him. At the hospital, he repeatedly bothers her, making various requests and thoroughly enjoying the act of teasing her. In a moment of frustration and old wives' remedy belief, Lee Nai takes an egg and cracks it on his head, explaining that her father claimed it could reduce a fever. The action triggers a vivid childhood memory for Jang, where a young Lee Nai had done the exact same thing. He dismisses the notion as pure superstition. During their conversation, Lee Nai begins praising K, describing him as a very nice person. This comment fuels Jang's jealousy, leading to a petty argument after which he tells her to go home. She leaves, seemingly complying. Later, as Jang is preparing to leave the hospital, he encounters difficulty due to a sudden downpour. At that moment, Lee Nai reappears holding an umbrella. She explains that she had not abandoned him but had gone to fetch the umbrella so she could properly see him home. This act of kindness and consideration deeply moves Jang, who offers a heartfelt and sincere apology for his earlier behavior. As Lee Nai is returning home one day, she is confronted by Suzy, Jang's sister. Suzy accuses Lee Nai of causing Jang to ignore her and declares that she cannot share her brother with anyone, demanding that Lee Nai stay away from him. To assert her dominance, Suzy, having heard of Lee Nai's renowned sense of smell, challenges her to a competition. Confident in her abilities, Lee Nai accepts. Song and Fying are recruited as judges. The challenge involves identifying items based solely on their scent, with a focus on egg-based aromas. To Lee Nai's profound shock, Suzy wins the competition. Lee Nai is stunned, as her olfactory prowess has never been bested before. In a more uplifting development, Jang and Lee Nai visit a childcare center, a place laden with shared memories from their past. While there, Lee Nai happens upon a childhood photograph of herself with a boy. She recognizes herself but is initially unsure about the boy's identity, though he seems familiar. This triggers a cascade of memories for Jang. He recalls a specific incident from their childhood where he was falsely accused of theft by the other children. In that moment of isolation and distress, Lee Nai was his sole defender, staunchly proclaiming his innocence. From that day forward, they became inseparable best friends, spending all their daylight hours together at the childcare center. Overwhelmed by the intensity of these memories, Jang is moved to tears in the present, lamenting internally, "Lei, why don't you recognize me?" On the return journey, there is limited space in the transport van, so Lee Nai is instructed to ride with Jang in his car. During the drive, after a period of quiet contemplation, she asks him why he feels such a strong attachment to the orphanage. Jang responds emotionally, explaining that he spent his entire childhood there and had a very dear friend who was lovely and always supported him. This confession makes Lee Nai increasingly certain that Jang is that childhood friend. To confirm her suspicions, she later visits the childcare center alone. The manager there, seeing her and Jang together, comments that they are both still the same as they were in the past. This remark provides Lee Nai with the final, unequivocal proof she needs. Her boss, the renowned chef Jang, is indeed her long-lost best friend from childhood. Empowered by this revelation and her growing confidence, Lee Nai decides to pursue her dream anew. She calls Kay and announces her intention to open a new restaurant. Together they embark on a search for a suitable location but are disheartened by the exorbitant costs. Exhausted, they take a break. In a separate, mysterious sequence, they begin following a man named Fun. Fun gets into a car and drives away, but Lee Nai receives a phone call that prevents her from continuing the pursuit. Kay goes on alone. The caller requests a meeting with Lee Nai, surprising her. Meanwhile, Kay follows Fun into a dimly lit restaurant. Complaining about the darkness, he is chastised by Suzy, who suddenly appears and tells him to remove his sunglasses. The moment Kay sees Suzy clearly, he is instantly and completely smitten. In another part of town, Lee Nai goes to meet Song at Jang's restaurant. Jang looks at her strangely, and she is initially confused until a bitter and envious Song confronts her. He accuses her of stealing the chef position that should have been his and the opportunity to be Jang's assistant in the competition. As his anger escalates, he douses her with petrol and is about to set her alight when Lee Nai heroically throws spices in his face, causing him to drop the lighter. Jang arrives at that precise moment. Song, now deranged, threatens to kill them both. In a swift and brave move, Lee Nai throws more spices to disorient Song, grabs Jang's hand, and they flee together. Once they are at a safe distance, a breathless Lee Nai asks Jang if he is okay. She addresses him by his childhood name, Jang. This catches him off guard, and he directly asks if she has discovered that he is her childhood friend. Before she can answer, the sound of a police siren is heard, presumably apprehending Song, and they both share a smile of relief and understanding. Lee Nai finally secures a location for her new restaurant. She then receives a call from Jang asking to meet. During their meeting, Jang questions why, upon figuring out his identity, she didn't confront him directly. He wonders if she wasn't curious. Li Nai deflects, claiming there was nothing to ask. A flashback then reveals the painful reason for their childhood separation. Jang was being taken away by his adoptive father, who asked him to say goodbye to his friends. A young Jang refused, believing his friend would not let him go, and thus he left without a word. In the present, Li Nai admits she has held onto some anger about this. Jang, shifting the subject, instructs her to come to the restaurant the next day. Li Nai, however, announces her resignation, stating her intention to focus on her own restaurant. This engages Jang, who reminds her of her contractual obligation to give 1 month's notice and threatens to withhold her salary if she leaves abruptly. Following this, Li Nai begins to perform her duties at Jang's restaurant poorly and neglectfully. Jang confronts her, demanding an explanation. Another flashback reveals that Kay had advised her to deliberately mess up her work so that Jang would fire her, thus freeing her from her contract without penalty. This is the strategy Li Nai is now employing. One evening, as she attempts to leave, Jang stops her and forces her to attend a mandatory staff meeting about an upcoming company outing. Li Nai shows no interest. Suzy arrives and expresses her desire to join the trip, but Jang flatly refuses and leaves. Li Nai laughs at Suzy's rejection, which greatly offends her. Later, Li Nai calls Jang, claiming she is unwell and cannot attend the outing. However, Jang has already arrived to pick her up, leaving her with no choice but to go. In a comedic parallel scene, Kay is at the dentist, nervously asking for a gentle tooth extraction. The doctor hands him a stress ball to squeeze. As the procedure begins, Suzy enters. Startling Kay, he drops the ball and in his panic, grabs Suzy's hand instead, squeezing it tightly and causing her to scream in pain. Later, Kay brings Suzy food to apologize and she accepts. She then sweetly manipulates him into revealing the location of Jang and Li Nai's team-building outing. Jang and his employees arrive at the retreat location, and Suzy, having gotten the information from Kay, also appears. The group is informed that their activity involves acting in a drama. Suzy is excited while Li Nai and Kay talk in the background, a sight that makes Jang jealous. As Li Nai gets into costume and looks for her acting partner, Jang, she sees him and is momentarily captivated by his appearance. Suzy intervenes, criticizing Li Nai and claiming that such a foolish girl is an unsuitable partner who will cause Jang to lose. After Li Nai leaves, Suzy directly asks Jang if he has developed feelings for this strange girl. Jang remains silent and walks away. He finds Li Nai and gives her a pair of earrings, explaining he bought them for her. She is shocked and touched, but he quickly clarifies it is only because she is his acting partner, warning her not to misinterpret the gesture. When she struggles to put them on, he helps her, creating a suddenly intimate and romantic moment where both are acutely aware of their feelings. Jang, however, pulls back and Li Nai thanks him. The drama activity takes a dramatic turn when a person runs in, announcing a murder. The group investigates and discovers a fake body. This is their next task, to solve the fictional murder. They venture into a nearby jungle-like area. Jang discovers a secret room and he and Li Nai enter. It is pitch black, so Jang uses his phone's flashlight, but he hides the screen because his wallpaper is a picture of himself and Li Nai. She catches a partial glimpse, but isn't sure what she saw. As they search for clues, a person, revealed to be Jang's uncle, Sean, locks them inside. With Jang's phone battery dying, the situation becomes dire. Li Nai begins to have trouble breathing due to dwindling oxygen, causing Jang great alarm. He tries to encourage her, but she faints. As he tries to revive her, a traumatic flashback shows a young Jang being hidden in a cabinet by his father just before his father is murdered by intruders. Meanwhile, Suzy sees her uncle Sean running suspiciously and deduces he is involved. She orders Kay to catch him. After confronting and threatening him, Sean reveals he has locked Jang in the bamboo place. Suzy rushes to the rescue. Back in the secret room, Li Nai remains unconscious and Jang's own condition is worsening. In a desperate attempt to save her, he decides to give her oxygen through mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, sharing a life-saving kiss. This act causes his own heart to race. Later, both Jang and Li Nai are recovering in the hospital, saved by Suzy. When Li Nai wakes up, she looks at Jang with deep affection but pretends to be asleep when she thinks he is waking up. Jang, however, had seen her awake and begins to laugh, then looks at her with equal love. When he leaves the room, she finally wakes up. He returns and asks if she is okay. As she goes to put on her slippers, he kneels and tenderly puts them on for her, a gesture that astonishes her. Kay arrives, sees the intimate scene, and jokes about his bad timing, leading to Li Nai playfully hitting him. Her father also visits, and in a comical mishap, a leaf ends up being thrown onto Jang's face. Upon being discharged from the hospital, Li Nai is talking with Kay when Jang sees them and, feeling jealous, deliberately bumps into them as he walks past. As Jang is about to get into a taxi, Li Nai's father warmly invites him to join their family car. Li Nai, flustered, quickly gets in to avoid this, but Jang holds the car door and asks if she remembers the fish he sent to her house. When she confirms she still has it, he announces he will come to her house to see it. As she reacts in exasperation, she nearly hits her head on the doorframe, but Jang swiftly protects her with his hand. He then bids her a fond farewell. True to his word, Jang visits Lee Nai's home to check on the fish. He criticizes its care, noting its poor condition. As Lee Nai is changing the water in the aquarium, she splashes water on her face. Jang lovingly wipes it away, a gesture that brings them close and makes her heart race. He then steps back and asks if she remembers anything from when they were locked in the room, hinting at the kiss and suspecting she was conscious. Lee Nai, though she was partially aware, feigns complete ignorance. Jang explains he did it only to give her oxygen and apologizes if it upset her. Lee Nai brushes it off, joking that she would consider it a dog bite. When Jang questions dog, she quickly amends it to hot dog and changes the subject. Gathering his courage, Jang sits down and asks if she hates him now. She assures him she does not, blaming her distance on being busy. Relieved, Jang leaves after another affectionate goodbye. Lee Nai watches him go, feeling happy and lighthearted after their conversation. Jang then takes Lee Nai on a work trip to a campsite. When she questions why she was brought along, he offers her extra salary to assist him, which she accepts. In a separate storyline, K is at his restaurant, wishing he could spend time with Suzy. To his delight, Suzy walks in as his first customer, claiming she was just passing by and wanted a beer. At the campsite, Jang and Lee Nai try to catch fish for their meal, with Jang pretending to be injured to get her attention, a ruse she quickly sees through and playfully chastises him for. As Jang fries the fish, Lee Nai compares their campsites, feeling hers is inferior, but Jang dismisses her concerns. After dinner, it begins to rain, ruining Lee Nai's tent. Jang, who had anticipated the rain, suggests she sleep in his car. When she returns, shivering, he wraps her in a blanket. She then points out there's no space in the car and after some hesitation suggests they both share his large tent while he offers to take the car. She insists, worried he might get sick and blame her. They eventually agree to share the tent. Lying side by side in the confined space, both feel a nervous tension. When Lee Nai's hand brushes against Jang's while she searches for her phone, he helps her find it. As midnight strikes, she wishes him a happy new year and they share a prolonged, smiling gaze before she turns away. He gently tells her to sleep. Meanwhile, Suzy gets drunk at K's restaurant. K tries to send her home, but she pulls him close and asks if he likes her. When he confesses that he does, she kisses him and he reciprocates. Back in the city, Lee Nai is at her restaurant when a woman arrives with her daughter after closing time. The mother explains it's her daughter's birthday and she was unable to celebrate earlier, pleading for a meal. Though Lee Nai specializes in other cuisines, she compassionately agrees to try making Western food. After much effort, she serves a meal that the mother and daughter love. The grateful little girl promises to tell everyone about the wonderful restaurant. Lee Nai goes to thank Jang as he had taught her the dishes she prepared. He seizes the opportunity to ask her to dinner and she agrees. He cooks for her at his home and they share a pleasant, intimate evening. When a bit of food gets on her lip, he moves close to gently wipe it away, their eyes locking in a charged moment. He then asks her to fetch wine from his room. When she enters, she is shocked to discover his wall of photos, which includes pictures of his enemies, including Master Kong. As she tries to leave, hurt and confused, Jang stops her and takes her to Master Kong's closed restaurant. There he explains the full story. He had begged Master Kong to teach his sister cooking, but Master Kong, at the request of Jang's grandfather, had refused. Jang argues that this was a deeply wrong act, which fueled his desire to defeat Master Kong and take his knife. Hearing this, Lee Nai falls silent, beginning to see his perspective. The little girl proves true to her word, and soon Lee Nai's restaurant is flooded with new customers and begins receiving excellent reviews, rapidly gaining fame. To secure a steady supply of ingredients, Lee Nai seeks advice from Jang, who directs her to a supplier offering low prices. The supplier turns out to be Yang, Jang's brother. After tasting and approving her food, Yang agrees to supply her and takes her to his warehouse. There, they unexpectedly encounter Jang. Lee Nai, trying to hide, trips and injures her foot. Jang immediately abandons his business with Yang to tend to her, applying medicine with great concern and care. He then carries her, ensuring she is safe. In a revealing subplot, K visits the CEO of a major news company who is revealed to be his elder sister, unveiling that K comes from a wealthy family. He persuades her to feature their restaurant in an interview. One evening, as Lee Nai is heading home, Jang stops her and asks her to have dinner with him. She is inwardly thrilled, wondering if it signifies his romantic interest, but she declines, citing work. Jang insists he will wait for her. As she leaves in a car with his assistant, she notices some reports. The assistant reveals that Master Kong is not on a mountain walk as she believed, but is seriously ill in the hospital. Distraught, Lee Nai rushes to Master Kong's bedside with K. They find him in a deteriorated state, his health having declined since the loss of his knife. He tries to reassure them and they, in turn, excitedly tell him about their new restaurant and take him to see it. Lee Nai prepares a meal for him, and he offers high praise for her culinary skills and K's management. However, during their joyful reunion, Master Kong's health suddenly takes a critical turn, and he begins struggling to breathe, forcing Kay to call an ambulance in a panic. In the subsequent events, Jang arrives at his restaurant and is presented with a formal notice regarding his next culinary challenger. He informs his associate, Fang, about this development, revealing that the challenge has been issued by a representative of the Li family. Fang expresses surprise, inquiring if this could be connected to Li Nai. Jang dismisses this possibility, clarifying that Li Nai does not possess a family knife bearing the prestigious 5-star rating, a crucial identifier in their culinary world. Meanwhile, Li Nai is consumed by anxiety over the prospect of competing against Jang. Her companion, Kan, attempts to soothe her nerves, and it is in this moment that the narrative confirms Li Nai is indeed the one who will be facing Jang in the upcoming contest. In a bold move, she goes to Jang's restaurant, but he pointedly ignores her presence. He coldly announces his resignation and informs her that after that day, her services as his assistant for any future competitions would no longer be required. This declaration stuns Li Nai. Unbeknownst to her, Jang is acting under the mistaken belief that she has rejected him due to his previous victory over her mentor, Master Kong. In a parallel development, Yang discusses the upcoming challenge with his grandfather. The elder reveals that the Li family was once a renowned name in the city's culinary scene before mysteriously vanishing from prominence. He declares that if Jang emerges victorious, he would be immensely pleased and would appoint Jang as the head chef of his restaurant. In their preparations for the competition, Li Nai and Kan are busy developing new dishes when they spot Jang approaching their location. They hastily conceal themselves. Jang had come to gather intelligence on the Li family, seeking to learn the identity and skill level of their chef, seizing an opportunity. Li Nai approaches Jang and fabricates a story, claiming she followed him because she wanted to visit the Li family restaurant together. Pleased to see her, Jang agrees. As they sit inside the restaurant, Li Nai receives an urgent message from Kan summoning her to the kitchen. To create an excuse to leave, she feigns a severe stomach ache and heads for the restroom. Notably, Jang, who would normally show concern for her discomfort, remains detached and unresponsive, his behavior tinged with a newfound suspicion. Li Nai rushes to the kitchen where Kan has summoned Jang. Jang expresses reluctance, fearing Jang will recognize her distinctive culinary style. Li Nai proposes a solution. Jang would relay the recipe verbally and Kan would execute the cooking. Kan initially protests, feeling incapable, but Li Nai successfully motivates him, insisting he can accomplish the task. Kan manages to send out a dish. Upon tasting it, Jang questions the waitress, asking if the head chef is absent. The waitress assures him the chef is present in the kitchen. Li Nai also samples the dish and immediately spits it out, confirming its poor quality. The scene shifts to the kitchen, which is in a state of disarray due to Kan's efforts, explaining why the food served to Jang and Li Nai is so unsatisfactory. Jang inquires about the final dish, and the waitress promises it will arrive shortly. Kan again signals frantically for Li Nai to come to the kitchen. To prevent Jang from seeing Kan, Li Nai impulsively grabs Jang's face, claiming there is something on his lips. Shocked by her forwardness, Jang tells her to stop and she releases him. Li Nai goes to the kitchen, where a distraught Kan pleads to be released from the ordeal, stating he can no longer continue. Li Nai once again rallies his spirits, declaring him the guard of cooking for the day, which persuades him to persevere. When the final dish is presented, Jang immediately recognizes it as inedible and discards it. Li Nai quickly agrees, stating the food is terrible and suggesting they depart. As they prepare to leave, Suzy arrives and insists they stay, wanting to sample the food herself. After smelling the dish, she concurs that it is exceptionally bad. In the kitchen, Kan learns of Suzy's arrival and becomes extremely nervous. Jang questions his reaction, and Kan confesses that he finds Suzy more intimidating than Jang. As they ponder their next move, Kan's gaze falls upon the light switch. Back at the table, Jang theorizes that the chef deliberately prepared terrible food to signal his skills in a cryptic manner. Suzy asks Jang if he believes his challenger is male or female. He confidently states female. Just as Suzy is about to summon the chef, the lights suddenly go out. Jang uses this as a reason to suggest they leave, citing the late hour. Suzy claims she has to meet a friend and tells Jang to go home alone. Suzy then proceeds to the kitchen and instructs Kan to come home with her. Kan responds defensively, asking why she is there and questioning what she is to him. Suzy retorts, asking when she ever said she was nothing to him, and insists they're friends, demanding a greeting. Kan, however, confesses he does not want friendship, as his feelings for her are romantic. Upon hearing this, Suzy's demeanor becomes serious. She kisses him firmly and reveals that she shares his feelings. In another scene, Li Nai visits Master Kong. He gently tells her she does not need to bring him food daily, but she persists. She asks him who would win in a competition between her and Jang. Master Kong reflects that both are skilled, making the outcome difficult to predict. He offers a profound insight: neither she nor Jang cooks from the heart. Jang learned culinary arts to surpass his grandfather, while Li Nai learned to exact revenge on his behalf. He concludes that victory will go to whichever of them learns to cook with genuine passion and heart. After Li Nai departs, Suzy, who had been following her, arrives to see Master Kong. He is happy to see her and proceeds to share his entire story with her. Overcome with emotion, Suzy begins to cry, apologizing and believing herself to be the cause of his troubles. It is revealed that before Jang brought his sister to Master Kong, Suzy had approached the master and asked him to refuse Jang's request, as she did not want to be separated from her brother. Master Kong comforts Suzy, assuring her that what was destined to happen has come to pass and that she should not apologize. Later, Khan directly asks Jang if he has feelings for Li Nai. Jang admits that he does, but believes she does not reciprocate. At that moment, they hear Li Nai's voice outside, pleading for them not to harm Khan and asserting that whatever happened was not his fault. When no one answers the door, Li Nai uses a passcode to enter and rushes to check on Khan. Jang explains they were merely talking. Khan and Li Nai then apologize to Jang and leave. Outside, Khan asks Li Nai who gave her the passcode. She reveals that Jang himself told her it is his birthday. Khan realizes the date is that very day. Li Nai then recalls that Jang once mentioned his father used to make him beef soup on his birthday, inspiring her to do something special for him. Meanwhile, Jang is at home, looking at a childhood photograph and drinking heavily, reminiscing about the happiness of his life when his parents were present. His doorbell rings and he finds a lunchbox outside, the same one he had given Li Nai during a rainstorm. Understanding that she must have brought it and is likely nearby, he begins to search for her but suddenly faints. Li Nai catches him before he falls and takes him to her apartment. As she attempts to lay him down, he collapses on top of her. When he regains a sliver of consciousness, he asks why she is there. She explains she came to apologize for entering his home without permission that day. He questions why she assumed he would hurt Khan, asking if she perceives him as a bad person. She denies this. As she tries to leave, he faints again. She checks his temperature and finds he has a very high fever. She reaches for his phone to call an ambulance and is stunned to see her own photograph set as his wallpaper, realizing how much she means to him. Jang regains consciousness and asks her not to call an ambulance, stating he is fine but hungry. He drinks the soup she brought and praises it highly, telling her she has become a perfect chef. Elated, she prepares to leave, but he stops her. He asks her a poignant question: if he had not seized Master Kong's knife, would he have become her favorite person? Li Nai remains silent, indicating that the past cannot be altered. Jang apologizes, but she does not accept it. Tragedy strikes as Master Kong's condition deteriorates critically. He is rushed into surgery, with Khan and Li Nai waiting anxiously. A doctor emerges to deliver the devastating news that Master Kong has very little time left and requests they pray for him. Li Nai is overcome with grief. Pulling herself together, Li Nai heads to Jang's restaurant where the competition is being held. Reporters initially ignore her but swarm Jang as soon as he arrives. Inside, Li Nai sees Jang, prepared for the contest, but she hesitates, unsure how to face him. Remembering Master Kong's teachings, she dons her uniform, takes her knife bag, and steps into the arena before the crowd. Jang is stunned to discover that Li Nai is his opponent and the one who challenged him. She presents her 5-star knife to the audience and declares her intention to reclaim Master Kong's knife. The competition commences. Li Nai is entirely focused on her dish, while Jang is distracted, repeatedly looking at her and consequently making errors. He is troubled that the woman he holds so dear is now his challenger. Li Nai, meanwhile, recalls Master Kong's words, guiding her actions. Both chefs employ their unique skills as they cook. Eventually, Jang also regains his focus. After some time, both complete their dishes. When Jang rings his bell, the sound causes Li Nai to freeze, sensing something amiss. Simultaneously, at the hospital, despite the doctor's best efforts, Master Kong passes away. Khan is heartbroken and Li Nai seems to feel this loss intuitively, yet she also feels a strange compulsion, as if Master Kong himself guided her hand to press her bell. The tasting concludes and the judging begins. One vote goes to Jang, another to Li Nai. When it is Khan's sister's turn to vote, she also votes for Li Nai. Shocked and unable to meet Jang's gaze, Li Nai watches as Jang first returns Master Kong's knife to her and then offers his own. She accepts it but feels no satisfaction, only emptiness. Later, Li Nai and Khan sit outside Master Kong's restaurant, mourning his loss. They both receive notifications of a substantial monetary transfer. Khan explains this was Master Kong's final wish, that they use his money to secure their future. This gesture only deepens Li Nai's emotional turmoil. The following day, as Li Nai steps outside her restaurant, she is ambushed by the media, who aggressively question whether she cheated in the competition. Khan intervenes, diverting the reporter's attention and allowing Li Nai to escape, while Suzy arrives to help him. The media also corners Khan's sister, bombarding her with questions. She refuses to answer and promptly calls Yang, threatening to reveal the truth to the public if he does not resolve the situation immediately. Khan overhears this and confronts his sister, who confesses she orchestrated the scandal to save their failing company. In a moment of catharsis, Jang attempts to burn photographs of his past rivals but finds he cannot destroy Li Nai's picture, preserving it instead. Suzy visits him and confesses her role in the events involving Master Kong, revealing she was the one who asked the Master to refuse Jang's initial request. This revelation shocks Jang. Li Nai arrives at her restaurant to find it vandalized with offensive graffiti. A hostile individual appears and attempts to assault her, but Jang intervenes, receiving a blow to his forehead from a bottle. Li Nai expresses concern, but Jang coldly tells her she need not worry about him or follow him. Li Nai waits at the hospital for news of Jang's condition. Fang arrives and confronts her, blaming her for Jang's injuries and accusing her of causing him continuous pain. He asks if she knows Jang's background. She replies that she knows his father lost a competition and was exiled from the family. Fang corrects her, revealing the true story. Jang's father never lost, it was Yang's father who was defeated. However, Jang's father shouldered the blame because Yang's father was the family's chosen representative for a major competition and was considered the grandfather's favorite. Consequently, Jang's father was forced to leave the family. After he gained fame by establishing his own restaurant, his troubles intensified. A flashback shows a young Jang hidden in a cupboard, witnessing Yang's father confront his father, placing a knife to his hand and vowing to eliminate him as an obstacle. He then proceeds to sever the tendons in Jang's father's hands, a traumatic event that shaped Jang's life. From that day, Jang's sole ambition was to seize the knives of his uncle and grandfather, a dream that Li Nai, the very person he taught to cook, has now shattered. Li Nai is rendered speechless. Jang arrives and is immediately surrounded by reporters demanding to know if he was cheated. He looks directly at Li Nai and firmly states that he lost fairly, urging the media to drop the subject. After they disperse, Li Nai approaches to apologize, but Jang stops her. He expresses his profound regret for seizing Master Kong's knife based on a misunderstanding, a wrong he can never rectify as the master is gone. He tells her there is no need for them to meet again, as everything between them is over, and he departs. Devastated, Li Nai returns home to find that the fish Jang had given her has died. She breaks down, weeping that Jang has left her forever, just like his fish. Her father tries to console her, but her grief is overwhelming. Her despair deepens when she discovers a letter from Khan, stating he can no longer work with her and has found another job. Feeling utterly alone, she struggles to manage the restaurant by herself, her heart no longer in her work. A glimmer of hope emerges when her father replaces the dead fish with an identical one. This act inspires Li Nai with the belief that if she can bring back the fish, she can also win back Jang. Fueled by this hope and memories of their time together, she goes to his house and knocks, but there is no answer. She tries the old passcode, but he has changed it, solidifying her fear that he has truly abandoned her. Heartbroken, she leaves. Despite her sorrow, Li Nai continues to manage her restaurant proficiently. She begins collaborating with Jang. Having both achieved 7-star status, they aim to reform the tradition of seizing knives. Jang, meanwhile, has retreated to a village where he lives with Master Chayo, the very chef who once defeated his uncle in a competition. At Master Chayo's request, Jang goes to the local market for ingredients. Coincidentally, Li Nai has also come to the same village for supplies. Jang spots her, is shocked, and attempts to leave, but she sees him and calls out his name. He pretends not to recognize her. Li Nai researches the village and discovers Master Chayo resides there. Determined to find Jang, she tells her father they are taking a trip. In the village, Jang is playing a game with Master Chayo, who easily defeats him and sends him to fetch wine for 2 expected guests. Upon arriving in the village, Li Nai is on the phone when her father wanders off. She searches for him frantically but cannot find him. While Jang is purchasing wine, a child approaches asking for candy for his friend. Jang is astonished to see that the friend is Li Nai's father. Jang asks how he came to be there and where Li Nai is. Her father explains that she is likely lost. Jang takes him to a local radio station and makes an announcement with his location. Hearing Jang's voice after so long, Li Nai is shocked and rushes to the address. She is reunited with her father and finds Jang, who continues to ignore her. She approaches him and asks if he is okay. He responds coldly, questioning her presence and stating he is of no use to her. She pleads with him not to say that. He accuses her of using her father to find him, which she denies, claiming she came to see Master Chayo. At that moment, Master Chayo appears and Li Nai greets him, revealing she is the chef he spoke with online the previous night. Master Chayo acknowledges her. Later, Jang serves lunch. Lee Nai compliments the food, nodding his skills have improved. This endears Jang, who feels it is presumptuous for his former student to judge him. Master Chayo interjects, claiming credit for the meal and identifying Jang as merely his assistant. He then instructs Jang to host his special guests and give them a tour of the village, a request Jang flatly refuses. Lee Nai proceeds to annoy Jang by mimicking his actions. He questions why she is staying at the residence instead of a hotel. She explains that Master Chayo has given her permission to stay as long as she wishes. Master Chayo then tasks Jang with showing Lee Nai the local fresh vegetables. During their walk, thorns prick Lee Nai's hands, and Jang silently removes his own gloves and gives them to her. This small act of kindness gives her hope that he still cares. As they walk, Jang asks about his sister's well-being. Lee Nai confirms she is fine and that she saw her recently. When Lee Nai stumbles, Jang catches her and they share a prolonged gaze before he walks ahead. Nearing the house, Lee Nai shows him a photo of the new fish, boasting of her care for it. Distracted, Jang collides with a car, injuring his foot, and is forced to ride back home in the vehicle, feeling humiliated under the stares of onlookers. Lee Nai offers her bag to hide his face. Back at the house, Lee Nai diligently tends to Jang's injury, applying medicine and fetching anything he needs. He insists it is unnecessary, but she persists. When he attempts to go out, she follows him. He goes to a location to play a game, but her constant presence distracts him, so he devises an excuse to send her away. He then goes to his workplace, a wood-cutting site, and is astonished to find Lee Nai there. He demands to know who told her his whereabouts, and she reveals Master Chayo informed her he cuts wood there. They argue about her incessant following. A local woman observing their quarrel mistakes them for a couple and nostalgically recalls her own youthful arguments with her husband. This leaves Jang flustered, wondering if they truly appear that way. He begins his work, struggling to chop the wood, while Lee Nai demonstrates surprising ease at the task. Amazed and somewhat chagrined, Jang declares he is going to work elsewhere to escape her. When she asks where, he refuses to tell her, certain she will find him anyway. Lee Nai returns to Master Chayo and bribes him for information on Jang's new workplace. Chayo provides the address and she rushes off. Meanwhile, Chayo finds Jang in his room and is surprised he is not at work. Jang confesses he hid from Lee Nai to get some sleep. Chayo reveals he has already sent Lee Nai to the second workplace and she has not returned. Worried, Jang goes to the jungle to search for her, calling her name. He finds her mobile phone, increasing his anxiety. Pushing deeper, he discovers her lying unconscious at the bottom of a pit. He initially calls down that he is coming to help, but then realizes he needs assistance and calls Master Chayo. Ultimately, Jang jumps into the pit to be with her. He gives her his jacket for warmth and she shares it with him, wrapping half around each of them. She confesses she came looking for him and reiterates her shame for her past actions, begging for forgiveness. Jang responds that he cannot forget the moment she stood as his opponent. He acknowledges she was once very important to him, but states he no longer desires her friendship and asks her to leave him alone. Her spirits crushed by his hatred, she falls silent. Master Chayo arrives with help soon after. The next morning, Master Chayo informs Jang that Lee Nai has departed. Saddened, Jang challenges Master Chayo to a game and this time defeats him with intense focus. He reminds Master Chayo of his promise to surrender his knife upon defeat. Master Chayo agrees and takes Jang to his wife's gravesite where he formally presents the knife. Jang accepts it and asks Master Chayo to accept him as his student, to which the master agrees. In the final scene, Lee Nai is at her restaurant when Suzy arrives with startling news. Jang has returned to the city as several people have reportedly seen him. Lee Nai is left in a state of profound surprise and anticipation. In a subsequent development, Lee Nai proceeds to Jang's apartment with the intention of speaking with him. She knocks on the door, which is opened by an individual she does not recognize. This initial sight disheartens her, but her spirits lift when the person turns and addresses someone inside, urging, "Mr. Jang, you should be the head chef of our restaurant," before departing. Elated to find Jang at home, Lee Nai eagerly welcomes him back, but he remains aloof and uninterested in conversation. He curtly questions her purpose for visiting. She insists she has a matter of great importance to discuss and with determined resolve pushes her way inside. Initially, Lee Nai remains silent, her gaze fixed intently on Jang. She then makes a heartfelt plea, asking him not to accept a position as head chef at another establishment but to instead take that role at her restaurant. Jang responds with disbelief, questioning her sanity and reminding her that he holds her responsible for the closure of his own restaurant. At that moment, his phone rings with another job offer for a head chef position, which Lee Nai overhears. She intensifies her appeal, promising not only the head chef role but also her assistance in seeking revenge against his grandfather and the return of his knife. Jang moves closer to her, a gesture that makes her nervous. He then stands and presents a condition. Her restaurant was soon due for a review inspection, and if she managed to pass it, he would consider her proposal. Lee Nai agrees to this challenge. In the following scene, Jang advises Lee Nai that the reviewers would likely arrive incognito as regular customers, so they must be exceptionally vigilant and provide impeccable service. When customers begin to arrive, Lee Nai attends to them with great care. Her composure shatters, however, when Khan walks in. Shocked to see him, she demands to know where he has been, but he ignores her questions and begins scrutinizing the menu. Exasperated, Lee Nai reminds him that he himself had designed that menu and questions why he is examining it so critically, asking if he has lost his mind. Khan retorts that she lacks proper manners when addressing a customer and proceeds to order 2 dishes. Her anger flares, and she's on the verge of physically confronting him when Jang intervenes, pulling her aside and explaining that Khan is, in fact, the official reviewer for their restaurant. Later, as Lee Nai is closing the restaurant and heading home, Khan attempts to stop her for a conversation. In a fit of rage, she slaps him forcefully, leaving him in a disheveled state. Subsequently, Khan reveals the full extent of the plot against her. Yang, in collusion with his own sister, had schemed to downgrade her restaurant's rating and had further malicious plans in store. This revelation stuns Lee Nai, and she immediately calls Jang to inform her. Notably, Khan withholds a crucial piece of information. He does not tell her that Jang was the true victor in their past competition, fearing that this knowledge would cause her further pain. Determined to mend her relationship with Jang, Lee Nai embarks on a campaign to win back his favor. She deliberately crosses his path in various places, the elevator, the fruit market, during his morning jog, attempting to get his attention. Her sole objective is to end his animosity and rekindle their friendship. She offers numerous apologies, but Jang remains unmoved and unresponsive. On one occasion, as Jang is preparing to leave, Lee Nai appears and asks him for a ride, claiming she needs to go somewhere. He agrees but tells her to first check what is written on the back of his car. When she goes to look, he drives away, leaving her standing alone. The narrative then shifts to a meeting with Mr. Cao, the person who had offered Jang the head chef position over the phone. During their discussion, Yang's father, Sean, intrudes. He mocks Mr. Cao's decision to hire Jang, belittling him as someone who lost to a woman and a former junior. Mr. Cao defends his choice, stating it is a private matter and asking Sean not to interrupt. This provokes laughter from Jang. When Sean demands to know why he is laughing, Jang replies that he is astonished by Sean's lack of respect from anyone present. Enraged, Sean throws a drink at Jang, but Lee Nai steps in front of him, shielding him from the liquid. She then confronts Sean, exposing his deceitful history, including how he cheated his own brother and now harbors jealousy towards his brother's son. A furious Sean turns on Jang, accusing him of revealing family secrets. Jang defiantly states he will do as he pleases, and Lee Nai adds that unless Sean leaves immediately, she will expose everything to the public, noting that everyone present is recording the incident. Sean storms off in a rage. Jang then approaches Lee Nai and begins gently cleaning her soiled coat. She teases him, saying he must buy her a new one since it was dirtied because of him. As they leave together, Lee Nai nearly trips and Jang, as is his habit, instinctively catches her. When she asks why he always saves her, he quips, "Because you are short." They proceed to a tailor shop to purchase a new coat, but the tailor is absent. Lee Nai suggests that Jang take her measurements himself. He's initially shocked and resistant, but she insists and he eventually agrees. The act of him taking her measurements becomes an unexpectedly tender and romantic moment. Jang then questions her true motivation for wanting him as her head chef. She confesses that she wants to work alongside him and together exact revenge on his grandfather and uncle. Jang remains skeptical, stating she must first pass the review, a task he believes is impossible with Yang actively working against her. As he tries to leave, she stops him, insisting she also needs to take his measurements for a chef's uniform and confidently asserting she will pass the review. She reveals her true reason for being at the shop was to get his measurements. Jang refuses, stating he will not become her chef. An angry Lee Nai glares at him, refusing to let him leave. Jang finds himself increasingly drawn to her, but the moment is interrupted by the return of the shop owner. In a strategic move, Lee Nai visits Jang's grandfather. He receives her warmly, mentioning that her own grandfather was once his friend. She engages him in pleasant conversation before requesting his assistance with the upcoming review. He expresses surprise, noting her own considerable skills as a chef. Lee Nai then shows him a video of her restaurant being vandalized. She asks if he recognizes the perpetrator, and he falls into a guilty silence, understanding it was his younger son, Sean. Lee Nai confirms this and further reveals that his grandson, Yang, is also conspiring to shut down her restaurant. The grandfather promises to speak with Yang and assures her the review will be conducted fairly. Later, Jang and Lee Nai are overjoyed to learn their restaurant has passed the review. Jang arrives and casually inquires if there is a job available for him, bringing Lee Nai great happiness. In the next scene, Jang appears in his chef's uniform and Lee Nai looks at him adoringly, lovingly adjusting his attire. Meanwhile, the grandfather severely reprimands Yang, who pleads for forgiveness and promises not to repeat his actions. Lee Nai receives a call informing her of a crowd gathered outside her restaurant. Rushing there, she discovers the crowd is actually a group of Jang's female fans. When Jang appears, the fans swarm him for photos. The restaurant opens for business, and Lee Nai looks forward to spending time with Jang. However, his fans continuously interrupt, either praising the food or requesting photos with him. Lee Nai grows increasingly irritated and jealous. When the fans call for Jang again, she approaches them and offers assistance, but they insist on seeing only Jang. Witnessing her jealousy, Jang smiles to himself. Later, a male regular customer arrives and Lee Nai greets him warmly, engaging in friendly banter. This time, it is Jang who becomes visibly jealous. At the end of the day, as Lee Nai is closing up, the same male customer returns and asks her out to a movie. Jang intervenes angrily, stating she is too busy. The customer suggests another day, but Jang insists she is busy every day. Lee Nai is taken aback by Jang's possessiveness. She escorts the customer outside to speak with him privately. Upon her return, Jang confronts her, accusing her of being dishonest about her relationship with the man. When she tries to ignore him, he blocks her path and demands to know if she is really going to the movies with him. She reveals she has refused the invitation but questions why he is so angry. Finally, Jang confesses that he has liked her for a long time. Overjoyed, Lee Nai reciprocates his feelings. As Jang leans in to kiss her, Jang arrives and pulls Lee Nai away. However, Lee Nai quickly returns and tells Jang to be ready for their first date tomorrow, addressing him as Mr. Boyfriend. Stunned, Jang can only smile to himself after she leaves, his mind so occupied with thoughts of her that he cannot sleep or cook that night. Lee Nai experiences the same restless excitement. The next evening, Jang appears at Lee Nai's door. She is surprised and he claims he has come to see her father. She informs him her father is out visiting a friend and invites him in to wait, offering to get him water. As she turns to do so, Jang, now officially her boyfriend, approaches her from behind and kisses her. The following morning, Lee Nai watches Jang sleep, filled with happiness. Her peace is shattered when she realizes her father has returned home early. In a panic, she tells Jang to hide. Her father enters, explaining he came back early because it is her day for school and she might be late. As he prepares to take her, he offers to tidy her room. Lee Nai tries to stop him, but Jang is no longer under the blankets. She frantically searches the room and notices the wardrobe shaking, realizing he is hiding inside. Her father then asks if she is dating someone, showing her a short hair he found, which clearly is not hers. Thinking quickly, Lee Nai insists the hair is his and sits him down, feigning concern about his hair loss. Seizing the opportunity, Jang sneaks out but accidentally leaves his coat behind. Lee Nai later returns the coat to Jang. He kisses her goodbye affectionately before leaving. They share a lunch date, reminiscing about their memories until Jang arrives. Lee Nai quickly distances herself from Jang. Jang directly asks if they are dating, but Lee Nai denies it, wishing to keep their relationship secret for the time being. This denial hurts Jang deeply, and he remains upset despite her attempts to apologize. Ultimately, Lee Nai kisses him, and they share a loving embrace, reconciling their brief misunderstanding. Jang then arrives with a young girl, explaining she is a relative's child and asking Lee Nai to look after her for a day. Lee Nai agrees. When Jang arrives home, he finds Lee Nai and the girl waiting outside. He asks about the child and Lee Nai explains the situation, asking if they can take her along with them for the day. Jang agrees. The three spend a delightful day together, with Lee Nai and Jang enjoying a romantic outing while caring for the child. Later at home, as the child sleeps, Jang remarks on her peaceful state. Lee Nai whimsically suggests they have 2 children of their own someday so the children can play together and the parents can have time for themselves. Jang blushes at the suggestion. As they share a kiss, they hear a noise and discover the little girl has woken up and created chaos in the room. Lee Nai reminds Jang he said she was asleep, and he insists she was at the time. Jang later delivers an invitation to an all-chef meeting to be held at Jang's grandfather's house. When Jang and Lee Nai arrive, Yang greets them cordially and shows them to their designated cooking area. At the event, Suzy is standing alone when Khan approaches and places his jacket over her shoulders. He asks for a little time to explain his 2-month disappearance. Suzy, still angry, throws the jacket back at him, stating she wants no relationship with him and demanding to know why he is following her. Saddened, Khan begins to leave, but Suzy is also upset by her own harsh words. He suddenly returns, kisses her passionately, and declares he cannot keep her away from him nor bear to see her with anyone else. Suzy stands in quiet acceptance and their conflict is resolved. Khan acts as the host for the party and announces he will share an unfair story, proceeding to narrate the true history of the conflict between Jang and Yang's fathers. The audience is shocked and the grandfather becomes visibly nervous about his family secrets being exposed. Jang is elated that his father's name will finally be cleared. Yang, having summoned his own father to the party, watches as Mr. Chayo makes a dramatic entrance, stunning everyone. Mr. Chayo then corroborates the story, revealing how the grandfather paid him to lie to the media, leading to the immense suffering of Jang's father. The grandfather feigns ignorance, claiming he was unaware of his son's hardships. Jang confronts him, accusing him of being more concerned with his reputation than admitting his wrongdoing. He then turns to Sean, demanding he confess to severing his own brother's hands. The entire assembly, including Suzy, is horrified. Jang recounts the traumatic event in detail, which incites anger in both Suzy and the grandfather against Sean. Under pressure, Sean admits to everything, including the mutilation of his brother's hands. The gathered chefs are aghast, and Jang feels a profound sense of vindication. The stress of the revelation causes the grandfather's health to fail, and he is rushed to the hospital. Outside, Yang approaches Lee Nai, insisting he needs to speak with her. When she tries to leave, he asks if she wants to know the truth about who really won the competition between her and Jang. Intrigued, she gets into his car, a move witnessed by Jang. Inside the car, Yang confesses that Jang had actually won their contest, and that Khan's sister at his behest had manipulated the result in Lee Nai's favor. Enraged, Lee Nai vows to avenge all the wrongs committed against Jang. As she exits the car, she sees Jang waiting for her. Overjoyed, she hugs him tightly. Suzy visits the grandfather in the hospital, chastising him for favoring the son he exiled over the one he wronged, who did not even bother to visit. She reveals she was willing to forgive him but now knows the full extent of his and Sean's cruelty towards her father. She declares she is leaving him forever and he is left alone with his regrets. Jang then devises a plan with Suzy to publicize a new knife competition between himself and Lee Nai, aiming to disrupt Yang's schemes. Lee Nai, upon learning the truth about their last competition, insists on a rematch, feeling the previous result was unjust. After much persuasion, Jang agrees. They hold a private race where no judge is needed and Jang wins. Lee Nai hugs him, genuinely happy for his victory. In a separate development, Khan and Suzy have a quiet court marriage and are filled with happiness. At the official competition venue, Yang is baffled to see Khan assisting Suzy, questioning his allegiance. Jang and Lee Nai arrive and Lee Nai clarifies that while Khan was once her partner, he is no longer. Suzy and Khan then display their wedding rings and Suzy announces that Khan is now her husband and should not be obstructed. As Khan is leaving, his sister confronts him, accusing him of ignoring her. He retorts that a true sister would not have supported Yang's schemes. She defends her actions as necessary to save the family company. Khan, now mature and confident, assures her he is capable of helping her manage the business, promising that while they might face short-term losses, they would ultimately recover. His sister is left deep in thought. Yang, overhearing their conversation, secretly orders an associate to apprehend Lee Nai's father. Jang's assistant, who happens to be nearby, overhears Yang's plan and is alarmed. The hired man goes to Lee Nai's father, falsely claiming that Lee Nai sent him. The trusting father agrees to go with him. Lee Nai is then informed that her father is waiting downstairs. She's told she has only 5 minutes to see him or face disqualification from the competition. She rushes out, but Yang has the lift she enters deliberately stopped, trapping her inside. Jang, waiting for Lee Nai to begin the competition, is alerted by his assistant that she is in danger. He, along with Khan and Suzy, rushes to find her and discovers her trapped in the lift. Suzy and Khan return to the competition hall to manage the situation, while Jang stays to ensure Lee Nai is safe and has enough oxygen. Lee Nai, however, is more concerned about forfeiting the match due to her absence. Back in the hall, Yang points out Lee Nai's prolonged absence. The host announces that if she does not return, her opponent will be declared the winner and begins the countdown. Jang intervenes, declaring he will compete on Lee Nai's behalf. Yang objects, citing a rule that only a head chef can compete. At that moment, Khan produces a document signed by Lee Nai, officially appointing Jang as the head chef of her restaurant. Defeated, Yang has no choice but to relent. The competition commences, with both sides showcasing their culinary expertise. The prepared dishes are presented to the judges. The votes are cast, one for Suzy, one for Jang. The final and decisive vote rests with Khan's sister. Before she can cast it, Khan questions whether her decision will be impartial. She states she will explain her reasoning after the vote. As she is about to vote for Suzy, a recording is played throughout the hall, capturing a past conversation between Yang and Khan's sister conspiring to ensure Jang's loss in the previous competition. Yang desperately tries to stop the recording, denying everything. Lee Nai then arrives with Jang's assistant. who exposes Yang's plot to sabotage their restaurant and his history of buying out other establishments to eliminate competition. Yang accuses the assistant of being bribed. Lee Nai challenges him to let Khan's sister speak the truth. Under pressure, Khan's sister confesses that she deliberately made Jang lose at Yang's request and casts her vote for Jang. The police are called to the scene. With Susie's defeat and Jang's victory, the family knife that belonged to Jang's grandfather is rightfully returned to him, and his grandfather's restaurant is permanently closed. The narrative then fast-forwards. A scene reveals that Khan and Susie are at the hospital, awaiting the birth of their child, their faces radiant with joy. In another scene, Lee Nai and Jang watch a video celebrating a collective decision by the city's chefs to abolish the archaic rule of seizing knives. Jang announces her intention to open her own restaurant, and Lee Nai congratulates her as she takes her 7-star certification and departs. Jang arrives and Lee Nai immediately embraces him. They share a tender moment and Jang notes that Khan and Susie are now married. He gently asks when they will marry. Lee Nai smiles and replies, "Very soon." They hold each other in a tight, loving embrace, bringing the story to a profoundly happy conclusion.